Internment comes from a Latin word that's internus, which talks about inward. And I think we're all going to be confined in some way, right? We pick the house we live in, that's confinement. The jobs we take, that's confinement. The city we're going to stay in, the families we create, that's confinement. So it's not a question of are we going to be confined? The question is, what are we going to be confined to? And is it going to be a life that's lived kind of like we are in the coffins that other people have designed for us, the external coffin of expectations, the boxes people have designed for us? Is that where we're going to be confined? Or are we going to find who we are? Are we going to find who we're meant to be and be confined by what's in us that determines what should be shown outside of us? What should be expressed beyond ourselves? And that's where I'm trying to take us today with this. I call our profession the profession of sadness. Sad is for stress, anxiety, depression, negativity, and extinction. Who do we become in order to do this well? And then there's sickness, and then there's suicide. We read in the newspaper, and we all sometimes know, like maybe I'm 5 or 10 steps away, but it really could be me. So now what exactly? What do we do now? And I think one of the things I would challenge you to do is you love you now. I mean, it's radical, isn't it? That concept of that. This is the quote from Jallah, and it says, "What you pay attention to is your life." You know, I have never been depressed thinking about the blessings in my life, ever. Very often we focus on certain things, and in focusing on those things, we determine the trajectory of our life. Because many of us are living in coffins others have designed for us and being moved around in those coffins, and we should be angry about that. Because someday our time will be over on this earth and nobody would have seen the real us, not even ourselves. And what a shame that would be. What a loss that would be. What if you could identify your issues like you do for your client when they come in to give you all these facts? What if you can find the rule that's behind some of the reasons you're having these issues? And what if you can then analyze and examine the issue with the rule and come to a place that makes sense for you? But where are we always starting when we're doing these things? We're starting within. We're starting within. What are we going to think? Because we're women of substance and valor, and we're brave enough to be ourselves. There are these lies we believe in. Coaching, we call them limiting beliefs. But they really, really govern our lives, and we treat them like laws. I'll give an example so we'll make it concrete. My issue is I must be perfect. But when I take the rule, I must be perfect, and I examine it, I can come and examine it using what I'm calling the tuck. Tuck is going to be for what's true, what's untrue, what's the cost, and what's kind. So what's true about it? Okay, I do have to perform at a level of excellence or good enough, at a higher frequency than not. What's untrue about I must be perfect? I've never performed at a perfect level consistently. But what's the cost of I must be perfect? I never feel good enough. I never feel I belong. And what's kind about I must be perfect? Absolutely nothing. A woman of substance is someone who understands her value is in her essence, not her performance. And a woman of valor is someone who has the strength, the courage, the bravery to live well. Because we're women of substance and valor, and we do hard things.